Okay, our next guest says in these unprecedented times, business has turned itself on its head and our leaders need to rethink their approach at the moment. Kat Howe is a leadership development specialist and it's always great to have a guest in the studio. She is right next to me. Hello, Kat. How are you today? Thanks so much for coming in. Tell us about what have you seen this year in terms of leadership? I mentioned there in the intro that it's been flipped on its head in some ways. Maybe give us a bit of background into what you're thinking at the moment when it comes to leadership.
Absolutely. So I've been very much embracing positive psychology in my work for many years.
Yep.
I run leadership development programs and executive coaching in addition to my 4 degrees in psychology.
4 degrees?
Yes. I've worked for organisations such as Melbourne Business School for about 12 years, Leadership Victoria for a few years before starting my own business. And I realised that I have had the same questions being asked of me over and over and over again for many, many years, which is which leadership style is most effective. And it's been a lot more simple to provide an answer to that in the past. This year has just seen so many unprecedented changes and challenges thrown at us that we've just had to adapt to, and we've had to be flexible, we've had to be adaptive fluids. So I've written my book to help get my message to a wider audience in terms of how to be most effective as a leader and how you can be both strong but also be fluid and adaptable and bring people with you on the leadership journey. So
that's fascinating. So let's talk flow leadership. Is that that's what you're talking about? Break it down. What is flow leadership exactly?
Sure. So flow is a term that comes from positive psychology and it simply means the optimal psychological state. So flow, you've probably experienced at some stage when you're totally engrossed in something that you love to do. So you are performing at your best, you're absolutely smashing it and loving it. So perhaps athletes or sports people might call that being in the zone.
Yep.
And they are really performing at a high level, but also achieving a great level of satisfaction, effectiveness, but also enjoyment in that state of flow. So I wanted to teach my clients how to achieve that state of flow in their leadership practice. What does that look like? So flow leadership is the optimal leadership, if you will.
Okay, great. It's fascinating stuff. So why now to write this book this year? I mean, how did you do it firstly, but why now in particular?
Well, like many other businesses, my business changed completely.
Yep.
By March, most of my face-to-face programs had been cancelled and I needed to start doing things differently. So I started to produce online portal with my programs, running blended delivery with some virtual, some recorded online programs and everything else. But I really wanted to reach a wider audience this year in particular and really help people to accelerate their leadership development. We need really strong leaders now in 2020 more than ever.
Yep.
And to accelerate the leadership development, I really wanted people to have the tools to be able to actually develop their leadership skills. So the book is really a how-to. It's a step-by-step guide of not only what you need to be able to develop to be most effective as a leader, but it's exactly how you're going to do that in terms of your development.
Awesome stuff. Can you give us a bit of a glimpse, if we did read the book, what would some takeaways be and who would you encourage maybe to get involved and check it out?
Sure. It is a book written for a general audience. So even though I have an academic background, I was a tertiary lecturer for 6 years, it's not an academic text.
Okay.
It's written for anyone who is interested in leadership development. So it's useful for an emerging but equally an established experienced leader right up to an executive leader to help them be their best self in terms of their leadership development.
Yeah, great. And just to finish, what feedback have you heard from people who, you've spoken to about flow leadership, some of these concepts? What are people saying to you exactly?
They love how accessible it is and how it's very practical. So I've stepped back from the theory and rather than presenting research results, I just try to tell my clients what it means, how to use it, how do you apply it in your day-to-day life to step up and be the best leader that you can be. So leaders now need to be more flexible, more adaptable, but they also need to show compassion as well as strength. They need to listen to others and bring others with them. They need to empower others to utilise their best strength and to be the best that they can be as well. So it's about being self-aware, utilising your strengths and really being the best self that you can be.
Yeah, great stuff. Life has certainly changed this year, and yeah, for a
Certainly
manager and
has.
a leader, they've got a lot more to think about in some ways. But clearly, you break it down. Where can we find the book?
It's available everywhere online, Amazon, Booktopia, and everywhere else. But the best place to get it for fastest delivery is on my website. So
Okay.
flowleadership.com.au.
Yep.
/book, and you can get a copy straight away.
Awesome. I'm going to check it out for sure. Hey, thanks so much
Great.
for coming in. We'll talk to you again next year and let us know how it's all going, okay?
Absolutely.
Good
Thanks.
stuff. Enjoy your
Pleasure.
afternoon.
Thank you.